are coming from elections, we thought it was important to create this space for connecting and checking in with each other. My name is Ana Martina. I'm the membership director of the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives. I use she, her, and ella. And today with my coworkers of the U.S. Federation of Worker Cooperatives, with Kate, Mo McLean, Shayla, Maddie, they're going to be supporting us with different aspects of the call. And so today, we know what is the Federation. We're committed to support worker cooperatives and democratic workplaces to thrive in their goals, and we support towards cooperative education, advocacy, and development. What we're going to be covering today, we're just going to be checking in who is in the room, how things are going in your workplace. And then we wanted to share this tool that was put together by some compass of friends in the movement to help us to map some of the resources that we have as individuals in our community, as cooperative movement, to try to organize ourselves and hopefully to help us to see where the resources and where the things that we have in our hands to manage anxiety right now at this moment. And then we're going to be looking at some benefits that we're offering also to our members to try. And then we're going to be just reviewing some of the work that we're doing to support you also during COVID. And so we're going to start just by sharing who is in the room, what is your workplace, and what's happening right now. So I'm gonna stop sharing the presentation so that I can actually see folks.
Ana Martina, we should also mention that the session is being recorded. I don't know if we mentioned that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So just so everybody knows, the session is being recorded. If you prefer not to appear on screen during the recording, you are welcome to keep your camera off if you feel more comfortable with that. But we do invite those who feel comfortable to turn your camera on. This is a sort of small member gathering. We're hanging out and sharing some information today and doing a small event. So if you'd like to turn on your screen to sort of create the room a little bit more, you're invited to do so.
Thanks, Kate. So yeah, we have a few folks in the room. So we have Araceli. Araceli, no sé si se quiera presentar.
Araceli, if you want to share a little bit about yourself, what co-op you're a part of, and how your co-op is doing in this moment. Sorry, good afternoon. I am Araceli Dominguez. And our co-op right now, we're working. But we're still in the process of getting into the new normal. We're essential workers. And so, as such, we're working and also working. We feel supported in terms of the information that the organizations and networks have given us about cooperatives and allied domestic work groups. And we've learned to live in this new normal, so thank you. Thank you, Araceli. Adria, I know that you have some problems with the camera, but I don't know if you can introduce yourself.
Hi, Anna. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Yeah, my internet has been a little wonky today, so I was trying to keep the video off, but I'll put it on for now. See, fingers crossed, it's going to work. So yes, coming from Cooperative Home Care Associates and worker-owned cooperative that does training and employment for home care workers. So these have been incredibly interesting and challenging times given the pandemic, but also being really proud of our workforce that has kept many people in their homes and out of harm's way in terms of dealing with COVID. It has been really challenging, you know, obviously securing the kind of equipment to make sure people are safe, losing hours of service for clients who, you know, were scared to take the services, or in situations where they had the opportunity to move in with loved ones. That means that, you know, we don't have that work, same way many other co-ops, I'm sure, have lost like business. So we still continue to struggle with that, and are working to try to make up those hours and identify new clients who need the services, so that our workforce, you know, we get back as an organization to the services that we have been providing pre-COVID. I think just on a note from me and for the organization, really happy about hearing Saturday's results and seeing democracy at work in a way that, you know, hasn't been there for a while. So we've sort of been reveling in all the festivities since Saturday, but also know there's a boatload of work ahead of us. So that's the CHCA check-in.
Thanks, Adria. It's really nice to see you also, as always. Sirenia, ¿se quiere presentar, por favor? Si puede abrir su micrófono.
Sirenia, if you'd like to turn your mic on. Sirenia, not sure if you can turn on your mic. Okay, if not, maybe we can move over to Rec.
Hi, my name is Rec. I work for the Madison Workers Cooperative, or MedWork, which is the peer network of worker cooperatives in Madison, Wisconsin. So we're not a workplace ourselves, other than me. But a lot of what we've been doing is working on finding funding to be able to continue working to support the local worker cooperatives. And I'm here mostly to just hear a little bit about what's going on. So I'll be doing a little bit of work in the background, but I am listening. Pass.
Thanks, Rick. Sirenia, no sé si puede, a lo mejor no puede.
Sirenia, not sure if you can maybe open your mic on your phone. Sirenia is also a worker owner. Maybe she can't turn on the mic.
Here.
Sí, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Puedo hablar?
Sí, hola Sirenia, ¿qué
Hi,
tal?
may I speak? Hi, good afternoon, everybody. If you could repeat the question, I didn't understand it. What was the question again? Hi, Sirenia. If you want to just introduce yourself, what co-op you're a part of, how your co-op is doing in this moment. Afternoon. I'm part of a cleaning co-op. We offer cleaning services, and during the pandemic, we were greatly impacted, but we're also the first to come back to work. Our co-op has been in operation the past 3 months, and our flow of clients has been really good. We have a lot of hope that after this election, we will increase in our work and there'll be more benefits. Above all, we're forging alliances with other organizations, and I think that's what's going to make the difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Sirenia. All right. I'm going to move to the next person, Kate, to let us listen to the presentation. Sorry, I was moving between the channels and I didn't hear what you said. Oh, I don't know if you wanted to introduce yourself. Oh yeah, quickly, I'm Kate. I'm coordinator of membership here with the Federation. And it's a pleasure to be here with y'all to talk for a little bit and to share a little bit about what's been going on. Thank you. So I'm gonna move to the next person or the next thing. We wanna start with some news, a really exciting bit of news. We had, in October, we had the regional election every year. Every other year, we do the regional selections of the board of directors of the federation, and now we have the results, and we're really excited to give them our warm welcome to the people who are joining. The representative of the West was Ricardo Nunez, in the South, Anna Boyer, in the North, Esther West, in the East, Araceli Dominguez, who's here today.
Araceli, no sé si quieres decir algunas palabras.
Araceli, I don't know if you wanted to say some words. And we're going to be, you know, in light of us working together, we're very excited. Yeah, good afternoon. Before anything, I just wanted to say, yes, I'm really excited, but at the same time, I feel a lot of responsibility to, you know, be communicating, transmitting this voice and have it be heard, and also to keep learning and to be doing the work, to not disappoint or you know, misguide anyone who chose me to represent them. It's important, the work that you all do, and being a part of this team is really a great privilege. So I feel really excited and really committed. So thank you. Thank you, Araceli. We're really excited to be working together. And yeah, so we're gonna be doing follow-up to connect you with the work of the board of directors. The next thing, we wanted to give the word to Mo Meckman, who's gonna share a little bit about the Shop Co-op campaign. Mo, I'm gonna do it, Anna. Hello to everyone. My name is Shayna. I'm the coordinator of communications with the Federation, and it's a pleasure to get to know y'all, even if it's just via your voices. I wanted to tell you about a little campaign that we have that's called Shop Co-op. It's like a little store that we want to promote, that the people buy during the holidays from cooperatives, if they're just like objects, services, or little gifts. We're gonna have a page online that'll be like an online shop where we're gonna have services and, you know, the little things that the cooperatives, member cooperatives of the Federation are selling. So we hope that you all help us promote it. You can find it at usworker.coop. I don't know what it's called, that, oh, the slash, shop co-op. Thank you, Anna. And also, if you want to add your services or your products to the shop, you can go to this page, and also you can fill out a form telling us what you want to promote in the little store. And yeah, that's all. We just want to promote the buying of products and services from cooperatives in these times. And yeah, now that the holidays are coming and everybody's looking for gifts and stuff, we want to promote that people buy these things. So promoting this page and also knowing if they want to share, you know, about services or products that you want to promote in the store, let us know. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
So yeah, if you have like any services, any like information, please let us know. Okay, so next, we wanted to actually share this tool that we were announcing a little bit before that. It's a tool. I'm gonna stop sharing so I can go to a different document. This is a tool that was shared by some facilitators in the movement, and it's basically a tool to do mapping of the resources that we have in our communities. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat, although I don't really know if folks having access to their computer right now, but I'm also gonna be sharing on the screen in a second. So this is a tool, and it's basically that it's like a tool to map out our resources. So let me just go and share now. How do I do this? Here. Okay. So it's in English and Spanish, and it's basically a tool. I'm gonna go to the English, and then I'm gonna switch back to the Spanish. So it's a tool to do like a mapping, and it will help us to plan in different scenarios. And as we know, there are different things that are happening right now. These times, like we're coming from COVID, we're coming from a time of political instability, of like very increased like tensions. And we don't know yet, like also what are the things that can happen, retaliation from groups that being attacking our communities. So we wanted to offer this tool as a way for people to try to assess what are the resources that we have as a community, and then, you know, try to assess like what are the different connections that we have also to activate some of these resources, connections, and then also to try to help us to understand what are our needs, sort of like a tool that hopefully can help us to measure anxiety as we are entering these times. So I'm gonna go into the part in Spanish so that people can also see it in Spanish. So, y me voy a cambiar para español un poco.
And I'm going to start speaking Spanish a little bit. So yeah, the tool shows different scenarios. Something that we want to say again also is that this tool, we want to share it with you all so that you can explore it with your cooperatives. And you can do that together in your cooperative, with your family, but also as these are difficult times, confronting these different scenarios can cause anxiety, right? So I hope that you use this tool when you're feeling calm and comfortable. Maybe you could do these exercises, but some of these topics can be stressful. So we started with some possible scenarios that could happen, right? For example, the person who made this tool, not knowing what can happen in the next couple of months, we want to offer a few scenarios. But the activity for today, we wanted to concentrate in the most tangible, which is the scenarios having to do with our cooperatives, cooperative businesses. So since spring, we've all been affected, right? And our cooperatives have. There was like closing of cities, sales have been affected, as Abby was saying. We know that, you know, things changed a lot. And the majority of businesses had to act from a place, like a last minute response place, an emergency spot. So now that we know a little bit more about COVID, and we know that we are entering a difficult time in fall and winter, that the cases can begin increasing again, we wanted to use this tool to work on it together and talk about what to do in these possible scenarios where for example, COVID cases might be increasing. and talk a little bit about how this situation can affect, in this case, our businesses or the cooperative movement. So we want to, be centered in the idea of cooperative. That's maybe the most tangible for us in this group to work on together. But what we want to measure a little bit is the, level at which it can affect us. We can talk a little bit about the skills and abilities that we have within our group. For example, we have cooperatives that have, ability to create web pages, right? Or other cooperatives could be acting, in a capacity of taking care of people who maybe don't have contact with their families or can't have contact with them. And then the resources square, we can say, which resources do we have? Can we count on? What can we offer from each of our cooperatives? And also the connections, which groups and organizations can we connect with? What are the relationships that we have to activate? And the necessities is just thinking about what we need, right? I think we can think a little bit about the cooperative movement and the Federation and how the Federation can help in the next 6 months and to the cooperatives, knowing that, what's ahead of us is going to be difficult and it's going to be a challenge. So I know, how many people do we have? How many people we might just stay, all of us in the main room.
So this is going to be an exercise in participation, and I can take notes. But is it clear, the exercise? We're going to have about 20 minutes for this exercise to do this together. And the idea is to fill out these boxes together. And if somebody has access to a computer, you can help take notes directly into the computer, into the document. But the point is to have this conversation. And so the first question, what are some of the situations? Well, what would the scenario be? The scenario right now is COVID. It's going to continue at least another year, we know, right? Maybe 6 months. So let's put a tangible scenario. So COVID is going to go on for another 6 months. And in these 6 months, it's quite possible that these cases go up, right? And so this is our scenario. And so the question for us for this exercise, what are some of the big things that have the most impact that could happen to our business, to our community? So if you can let me know, I can take notes.
Yo creo que podría ser otra vez el cierre de los
I think it possibly could mean the closing of businesses. And this is New York, where the business is closed altogether, right? Yes, there was a brief pause, and maybe another thing could be the transformation of the business. Could you speak a little bit about the transformation, what that could mean? Yeah, with this situation, one example is within our cooperative, we would do commercial and residential business. but we had to switch over, transform over to this, to disinfect within our work. And this is one of the things. And another thing I've heard in this case, there was a co-op that dedicated their time to textile manufacturing, and they made masks. And so that would be some example of the transformation within our business. Thank you, Araceli. I can take notes. So, Adria.
It could be the impact for cooperative home care in the next 6 months if the cases as we're seeing like keep increasing.
I think it would sort of mirror what our experience has been, which is that we've seen both increases and decreases in our business. So in the situations where clients have alternative means to escape the city and be with family somewhere else, we had seen those situations. And then simultaneously, clients or family members who don't want their loved ones, say in a nursing home, wanted to be able to bring them home. And so then there's an opportunity also for us to increase business on the other side. And I think if, you know, when we're looking at a scenario of another 6 to 12 months, I think something that's been significant for CHCA and for all of us who are in the home care space is to really communicate this message about the essential nature of this of home care, and like the need to have more home care for people, because it is a far safer solution than having people in, you know, congregate settings. We've seen the challenges of people being in congregate settings and having the virus spread. So, you know, for us, it's been really trying to leverage the fact that home care is the safest solution when somebody can be safely at home.
Thanks, Adria. Is there anything else that we should be including here? And I'm wondering, Rec, if there's anything, or Sirenia, anything that we wanted to add into the piece of a scenario? If not, we can probably move into the level and how deeply these scenarios could impact us as individuals in our family.
Sirenia. Sí, Sirenia, quiere comentar.
Yes, this is Sirenia. Some things that could also happen are comrades that maybe haven't gotten the virus could at some moment get it. And we know that being quarantined isn't necessarily just 14 days, but it could even be 1 or 2 months, depending on the symptoms, and maybe even 3 months. And this would also impact the work. And another thing is, you know, the schools could close again. Many comrades who have to go out and do cleaning, since that's their work, they might have to come and stay home again because they have to support their children. And so that's another thing that could also impact our work. Thank you.
Rick, I don't know if there is anything else that you want to add here.
No, Sirenia said what I was going to say about people getting infected.
Thank you. So let's move into the level and like how deeply these scenarios could impact me personally, to my family, to my neighborhood, to the city, you know. But like, I think that like something that can be helpful here for us is like to talk about the level in terms of the business and personally, probably.
I think for from our cooperative's perspective, this obviously impacted us immensely. I mean, even the whole piece around childcare was also, you know, another huge situation. Many of our workers are, you know, have children who are school age, and home care is not the type of business that you can do remotely. So while, you know, the rest of the world is on pause and working remotely, our workers can't do that. And so having a, you know, a city shut down, or having a whole school system shut down, and having challenges around transportation deeply impact us. And the workers are on the front line, exposed to COVID through transportation or in different ways. And at, you know, at one point we had close to 400 workers who had to be in quarantine because of potential exposure or positive tests. And so, you know, that would be, the scenario would continue if it continues, or I would say if there's more of an uptick. At this point, we don't have 400 people. We probably have 70 or 60 who are in quarantine. So, you know, there is some stabilization, but still, that's people who are unable to work. And, you know, the schools have gone back to some degree, and it's still kind of hectic and chaotic for parents of school-age children. So it deeply impacts us.
Thanks, Andrea. Is there anything else que quieran agregar? Sorry, cambiando a español.
Sorry, changing to Spanish. Araceli or Sirenia? Is there anything you would want to add that's different from what Adria just said? Could you repeat the question, please? Yeah, the question is, how deeply could this scenario affect you personally and also affect your cooperative? I think it's been a huge impact, being that many of us live off of our work day to day. And so it has really impacted us in the economic sense, but also emotionally and our morale, in all the kind of spheres. A lot of us are supporters of our families for not just the economic support, but we also have to, you know, back up our children and our spouses. And so this work, you know, as workers, as you know, supporters of our household, when we're at home and we're not, you know, creating actively, it gives us the opportunity to kind of explore different communication forms. Before, for example, you know, our cooperative was super physical, but now we've had to learn how to use technology and to see how that can support us. Being in virtual meetings, I think it's one of the best things that we can carry forward. The fact that, you know, we've been in so many places now that we couldn't organize it before, organized even better. It was more about being there physically, but now we can kind of be everywhere in California, in Europe, I don't know, in different events that we can now attend. So it's, you know, allowed us to look for the bright side. Figuring out how to find support and help in different and new places. Not everyone knows how to use technology, which is difficult. It's difficult. But I think in the end, we're going step by step, and we're in a good moment where we've learned a lot how to use it. Maybe not, you know, in such an agile way as others. Some people more than others. But it's taught us that we need to, you know, organize. This has really affected us economically in the moment, of course. But, you know, we've had workshops, you know, COVID workshops. but it gives us a little bit of, you know, calm to be able to keep moving forward. But the business, you know, if we're not working, it's gonna fall by the wayside. So we really need to keep moving forward. Thank you, Araceli. You're starting to talk exactly about abilities, right? The abilities that we can start identifying. Where have we found success? What do you feel more comfortable or capable of doing? And what are your personal limits? And I'm hearing that one of the things that you were saying, Araceli, was with respect to technology, right? It's, on one way, it's been a strength because we have more reach, but at the same time, there's a limit because, you know, we're not completely using its potential while we're using it. There's still things that we need to learn with respect to technology. So what are other abilities that are also important to be able to react to the situation? For example, what are some of the strengths we could say that we know that our cooperative has, or strengths that we have as individuals as well?
For CHCA, I can say that honestly, a huge strength is our you know, dedication and investment in workers and having 35 years of experience delivering home care services, but also recognizing and valuing workers as, like, you know, the core of what we do. So in this situation, I think many of our workers just viscerally felt like they needed to be working at this time, supporting, you know, their clients. And that's not to minimize the struggles that people had to deal with and, like, you know, the decisions that folks had to make if their kids are home and they can't, you know, there's nobody else, nowhere for them to take them or nobody else for them to watch. And I just, you know, I think from an organizational standpoint and as a co-op, workers are at the center. And so workers feeling supported in what was an extraordinary time, a time that none of us have ever, you know, faced, that was a true strength of, you know, being together for 35 years and doing this.
I think that's very important, Adria, as, like, you know, we have to see the strengths of the business, right? Like the reputation of the business, the experience of the business, the ability to be able to take decisions collectively and not being depending on, like, somebody else, like one person decision, right? Like the collective power. And I think that that's important. I think that, like, you know, when we start, like, mapping here, like, the skills, like, I think it is important to also to think about the skills in the context of the industry. Sometimes it might be also in the context of the co-op movement itself too, right? And, like, I think that we will see a little bit, like, you know, ahead here that, like, we're trying to map these resources for what is the action that we want to take. And the action might be in organizing for advocacy. Like the action might be organizing for sharing protection in the community. The action could be many, right? And these activities, like, once again, it's like to try to help us to identify where, like, what the skills that we have. So moving into the resources now, and once again, in this context of the co-op movement or probably your community, right? What do you have that you think that you can share or you can activate in the movement or in your community who do you know who can help you to share or mobilize something that you don't have?
Araceli, en este caso creo que es muy importante dar
In
la
this case,
información.
I think it's important to give information. For example, we were given an OSHA course, and I think that that's a really important part, informing people. And this will help us feel more comfortable. Because if we didn't have, you know, this information when we were returning to work, people working in like commercial workplaces, they were able to feel more comfortable with the information. It gives us the time to analyze, you know, not to be worried about like, am I exposing myself? Am I doing this right? I think this basic information, this clear, useful information for our community is a resource.
Gracias, Araceli. ¿Algo más que quieran compartir en esta parte de recursos?
Something else anybody would like to share on this part?
This is Rec. I think we can share how we've handled when people get COVID so that other co-ops know what we've done to make sure that people within the co-op don't also get COVID. We've had a couple of co-ops in Madison where people have gotten COVID from work. So sharing what did and didn't work to help keep people safe.
Anything else that we want to add in this piece of resources?
I think for us, this goes back to, I think it was Araceli who talked about the pivot and transformation in work. And for CHCA, we were able to leverage the co-op network very early on and, you know, lean on Opportunity Threads and the Industrial Commons to get the masks and the gowns for our workers at a time when like we could not access PPE very early on. I also think, you know, it was incredibly instrumental what the Federation did and working with, you know, NCBA to get co-op lenders and more, you know, social conscious money flowing to co-ops, because, you know, without that, the businesses that have the banking relationships that tend to, you know, far outpace us in terms of money, certainly would have, were at the forefront of collecting federal dollars and relief money. So I think, you know, kind of focusing in on how do we leverage those kinds of you know, networks and relationships is critical. It was critical, and it'll continue to be really critical, particularly with this new administration. And I got to give a shout out to Anna over there in Philly. Big up Philadelphia.
Well, to the community, it was like a lot of organizing, you know, but yeah. No, I mean, I think that Audra, you start to mention something here, right? Around the relationships. You start talking about the relationships, and that's like the next like box that we have. There is around connections, and mapping out where the human connections or connections to organizations that we have. What are the tools that we need in order to communicate with these groups? And here, I think it will be useful. I think you start sharing some, Adria. You mentioned NCBA, you mentioned the Federation also as like one of the like connections. Are there any other organizations or like human connections? It can be like also like city level, city councils, right? So maybe like let's just build a little list of like those connections that we have that we think that we can mobilize if, you know, if things start getting difficult again.
I think certainly like the financial institutions like the Working World, Shared Capital, Reinvestment, just, you know, the folks who are co-op leaning and solidarity economy leaning lenders is a huge one. You would have to say Dowie for sure. For us in New York City Council, at the local government level.
Thanks, Andrea. Are there, hay otras conexiones,
Are
relaciones?
there other connections or relations that are important to mention here? I heard, for example, Araceli was mentioning other co-ops, and also Adria, right? Mentioning what are the other organizations or connections or individuals that we would like to list here? Araceli, I think it's really important to take into account the organizations that form co-ops on a national level. And, you know, right now we're at home and we can attend events. Fortunately, there are many citywide, and it's extensive, the networks that are supporting co-ops. But at the end of the day, we may not know about them because maybe they're just getting started, or we only have information within the spaces we're in. And it's important to have those alliances because the more of us, the more help and the better. So for example, here in New York, there's New York Business that also supports small businesses, but at the end of the day, to be taken into account as a business, they have taken us into account now that they know a little bit about us. And once we're able to build awareness about what co-ops are. And so on a national level, you know, I think there's something like this state by state in California, I don't know what it's called, and etc. So it's really important, for example, in New York, the Domestic Worker Alliance. Why? Because it's not just one type of worker. So national organizations will also help us to do more outreach. And what else could I say? I don't know. Maybe beyond our borders, this nation, there are a lot of groups outside of the country that know about co-ops, and we could see how they're managing them, and maybe that could help us. And that'll help us create a more global vision. Thank you, Araceli. We have about 5 minutes for this meeting. So I'm gonna move us to the last part, which is about needs. What do we need to do to prepare ourselves? For example, get resources, download new technologies, write up contacts for, and here it'd be useful to know that for us, for example, what does the Federation need to do? How can we support you in this moment? Like we've already seen, you know, this just hit us in the spring. We didn't have any chance to prepare ourselves. And now we have knowledge of what might happen, of what might be coming. And so the point of this exercise is to prepare ourselves in a way to know what we need to do and how the Federation and other organizations can support to be able to, in one way or another, have a say in what happens. You know, it potentially could be a very big impact.
What are our needs? How can we be prepared with all this like mapping that we put together?
Araceli. Bueno, para mí yo creo que la mejor preparación es
I think for me, the best preparation in this case is asking ourselves, how can we transform, right? Because it's easy to say, like, you know, I need to transform myself. But we need to know, what do I need to do to be able to transform my business in a moment, to look for, you know, my source of income and the ways that my business can keep working. And when we were in, you know, our homes, we were able to take advantage of what to do in this situation and take advantage of workshops having to do with administration, the psychological aspect, and also technology. And that helps us stay awake, helps us keep working and advancing with the business. Because it keeps us working administratively as well, and it helps us take advantage because we can't really work administratively in the way that we'd like to. It would be good as well to look for funds, to not be relying on other people, but to be creating this ourselves. Because really, you know, we weren't prepared and we're looking for people who can help us, but we want to be able to help ourselves in the future, help our own community and support ourselves. Thank you, Araceli. I also wanted to mention that as well. Many people and the cooperatives that had resources and started working hard and were able to be putting online, you know, their fundraisers, were able to make money. But I know a lot of cooperatives that didn't have those tools and didn't know how to like use a crowdfunding fundraiser website. They may have, you know, lost the opportunity or lost the moment where, you know, everybody was looking to make donations. So I think another thing that's occurring to me from what Araceli was saying is this. How can we be independent? How can we raise money? How do we have that knowledge? How do we use technology to share that message with the public? So maybe something that we can investigate. Basically, like, you know, a basic workshop about how to publish a fundraiser online. Because we know that many people in our communities, they don't necessarily feel comfortable you know, applying for loans for many reasons. For one, because, you know, we may not know about loans and the way to pay them off, but so fundraisers can be really a lot better. That's something that occurred to me.
Araceli. Sí, como dijo.
Araceli, yeah, as you said, you know, when we're talking about funds, many of the loans that we were given, the cooperatives, you know, didn't have full information about all those opportunities. But we have to reiterate that we have to look for other ways, right? For example, we didn't feel comfortable asking for loans because we didn't really understand, even though, you know, they tried to explain, but for many of us, it's new territory. But, you know, a business in progress, you know, doesn't necessarily want to accept, you know, having debts. And if one person is responsible for this debt or all the members, it was a lot of questions that we were left with. It's, you know, the lack of information that we got the information, but it was hard for us to understand, and we decided not to take that option. Maybe it was, you know, the right decision in the end. But I think that was behind a lot of reason behind the decisions we took, you know, and or didn't take. And I saw Sirenia has her hand raised. So we're going to listen to Sirenia. Yeah, I think also along with that, we need to be sharing not just with our cooperatives, but also in our communities. I know many people had doubts about who could qualify, who could apply for this and that. And so thinking about supporting community and not just cooperatives on that level, but being able to share with individuals, with the people. We've had a lot of support here in New York, but we want to support the community in general as well. You know, people who may not be part of a cooperative, but, you know, we want them to be part of an organization. Thank you, Sirenia. Adria left and we've already over time a little bit, but I think one of the things that I heard from Adria as well was recognizing what are cooperatives and what is the value of cooperatives in community and in general and in the movement. And I was thinking a lot about that. We can make like profiles for cooperatives, but it would be good to do it more intentionally this fall and winter to try and promote this idea of the it would be good, for example, to think about how to make the profiles of the cooperatives to be trying to promote cooperatives in these times. That's something I've been thinking about. And also doing this advocacy work, you know, in like kind of town hall chat. Yeah, I was talking about that too. So the idea of having this tool today is really exactly to think together and also try to analyze what are the tools we have, what are our needs, and to create this, you know, mapping to know how we can prepare so that we aren't taken by surprise again. We have some experience and we can try to have these resources on hand so that we're able to know how to activate them and also to be able to identify our needs. What are things we lack still? We know about, you know, technology. Kate was talking also about the necessity to have workshops so that people can know how to, you know, make online pages, campaigns, and fundraisers. What are the things that are missing? What can we put on this map so that we can make a plan? I know that as the Federation, it's our objective to support y'all. And so this was the exercise today to share this tool. And we're going to share it again via email so that you can look at it with your cooperatives. And each one of your cooperatives can do this mapping. And if there's homework for the Federation, you should get in contact with us so that we can know how to help you in these moments. But that was the objective for the exercise. And I think this mapping of possible scenarios, we were doing about COVID, right? But there's many more scenarios that can really cause a lot of anxiety for us, you know, the political scenario, you know, anything that could happen. And so we're gonna leave you with this tool so that you can take it, so you can work with it in your cooperatives, your family, your community. And I really hope that it can help y'all to be able to, I don't know, manage your anxiety and start taking actions. Kate, I don't know if you want to share anything else as we start closing.
No, nada más gracias por haber
No, just wanted to
hoy.
say thank you for being here today.
Estoy
And
con la idea de que
thinking that we have to share this activity to the whole list of membership because it's a super useful activity. At least for me, when I'm confronting the possibility of some unknown situation, like the pandemic or the future of, the presidency, etc. It helps so much to be able to have, a little tool to make plans for my community, with my neighbors, with my friends, with my family. And so I'm really grateful to Ana Martina for giving us this activity, this tool. I know the meeting was small today, but we're going to see how we can keep, sharing with more people. And I love that it's already bilingual, it's already translated. Thank you, Ana Martina, Rek, Araceli, and the other participants today.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Thank you, and congratulations, Araceli. We're so happy working with you, that you're our boss. Thank you so much for your support. I'm learning so much from you all. And, to collaborate with you and learn with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the compañeras who helped us with the interpretation. And please send us information on how to support in Guatemala. Good evening.